Hello everybody, today's video is going to be about how to counter Bane, Beastmaster, and Batrider. And if you guys ever find yourself having issue with these heroes, you can always come back to this video and refresh yourself on exactly how to deal with them. Let's go ahead and get started. So first, we're going to go on through Bane. So when I look at his worst matchups, I see a bunch of meatbows, summons, multiple units, status resistance, dispel, easy cancel, I guess. And when we look at the heroes that he's best against, heroes that like to press BKB and walk into the middle of the fight. Tanky guy that relies on regen. When we look at Bane's ability kit, we can see that each one of his spells, they're all single target. And I think that's purely what defines Bane, is the fact that he is a single target, screw that guy kind of hero. I'd say Bane is countered by an archetype of heroes. We mentioned the summons offlaners, we mentioned illusion carries, and then I would say dispelling supports like a Bane, Oracle, or Silencer, heroes in the support role that can reliably cancel grip. It's really important to note that he does have higher than normal night vision, and that allows him to be a good scout. He's purely the lockdown aspect of it. Bane is an off-map hunt hero and is a hero you should consistently be afraid of if they are not showing on the map. If the opponent had 10 seconds to run me down, would I die here? And that's how you have to think against Bane. This hero is absolutely a gank setupper, but if he's not actually setting up a smoke gank himself, honestly, Bane usually ends up being pretty useless in team fights because of the nature of his single target. Ideally, he wants to use Nightmare on some tanky utility guy or the safe support that's going to cancel his grip, and then he wants to try to grip either the carry or the mid during their BKBs. That means he wants to play in the back with items like Glimmer Capes and Ether Lens, but when I watch professional Dota, Bane usually ends up being a guy that dewards and tanks the initiation of the opponent because you can't afford to have your carry get Fiend's gripped. If you're the carry, I would predominantly deal with him by being a hero like PL, TB, that doesn't actually die to the Bane because you're not showing with just one unit. The biggest thing about Bane is that he doesn't actually need to die in fights as long as he's not allowed to just spam his abilities off cooldown. So canceling his grip, waking people up from Nightmare is generally a good enough response to Bane, and he can be focused later on in the fight. I'd say Bane's strongest point in the game is the laning stage. He's one of the best trading supports in the entire game, and his only weakness is offlaners that have summons. If he is not against the summons offlaner, this hero will sometimes even be able to pull the Undying where he 1v2s the offlane and the forward position, creating a lot of space for the carry in lane. So what I'd say about Bane is that he scales based on your reliability of BKB. The worst thing that can possibly happen to you as a core is to use your BKB, blink, stun somebody as if you're like a Spin or an Ursa, and have the Bane Fiends grip you during your BKB. So having that Lincoln Sphere on top of the BKB after you've already bought one is a must-have against Bane. The natural counters are being able to wake yourself up from Nightmare, and it's because Bane is a support that's channeling an ability to kill you, even just having the summons and illusions actually just go kill him while he's gripping you is a reliable option, especially later on in the game when illusion heroes have a lot of damage items. So next up, we got Batrider. So when we look at Batrider's worst matchups, what I see is either ways to break lasso, heroes with a lot of slows, and overall, I would say heroes that are not reliable to burst in a lasso. So it looks like heroes with natural dispels and ways to reliably combo break Batrider's lasso will be what are best against Batrider. What he tends to be the best against is the opposite. Are heroes that are going to present themselves or are squishy backliners that if you do manage to lasso them, they will just die. And then heroes that rely on hiding in trees or based on vision, Monkey King Treant, Batrider having Firefly to be able to fly over the trees and find you. One thing about Batrider, due to the nature of Sticky Napalm in tandem with all of his other spells, he has no limit to how much damage he can do if he's allowed to stick on top of his targets. So when I look at Batrider, I actually think his most signature spell is Sticky Napalm, because all of his spells, if you look at the damage numbers, are pretty low. They're all high instances of damage, and each instance of damage is buffed up by Sticky Napalm. If he's not stacking up a bunch of Sticky Napalm on you, the hero is just a lasso. I would say Batrider is predominantly countered by the mids. He doesn't generally like the spirits. Any heroes that can reliably catch him because he relies on the terrain abuse of Firefly by being able to fly over cliffs So Batrider is a boots of travel hero through and through. His biggest limitation on his own farm is his ability to be farming and contributing to fights at the same time. Problem with Batrider is that he has to farm with Firefly, and he also needs Firefly to do any relevant amount of damage in fights. So this hero likes to boots of travel to a creep wave, use the Firefly, and then run from camp to camp, clearing as many camps in a single Firefly. So look for this hero to be playing away from his team as much as possible, connecting the fights and setting up kills with his lasso boots of travel. Batrider has two ways. He can kind of ambush you with like a blink dagger lasso combo. That's generally like a bad Batrider game. Like he doesn't want to do that because it's pretty all in, and that build doesn't help him farm very well. But you'll usually end up buying these items at some point. But the way he prefers to play fights is buying boots of travel into items like Witchblade, BKB, running in with a lot of movement speed and survivability, choosing his targets carefully, and just simply dishing out damage over time with Sticky Napalm and Firefly, and only using Lasso when he thinks you're going to get away from him. Batrider is all about making sure he doesn't kill you. If you can draw out the fight where he's not bursting somebody in a lasso, and you're able to make it so he can't kite you, with his Sticky Napalm stacks building up, Batrider is honestly a negligible hero in fights. So this hero's landing stage is not the strongest, but he has really big power spikes every big item that he gets. Boots of travel super early on in the game. He can threaten lanes that normally would not be able to be invaded because he TBs on top of creep waves at 8 or 9 minutes into the game. Items like BKB that allow him to navigate fights with impunity. In the late stages of the game, his big power spikes are Octarine Core Refresher, where he can actually solo kill people by double lassoing you, and that can be pretty much any stage of the game. But overall, Batrider just likes a constant up-tempo split-pushing game where he gets to pick people off with lasso. This huge power spike from 20 to 30 minutes where he has these items that help him run in and lasso you, but most people don't have the items to dispel lasso or Sticky Napalm. The biggest thing is dispels. Heroes like Naga, PL, Slark that can easily dispel Sticky Napalm with the use of their abilities, and then also heroes that are able to jump Batrider when they see him. So third and final hero for this video is Beastmaster, one of my least favorite offlaners to lane against. So when we look at what he's best and worst against, AoE slows and control. That's really what it is, because this hero is a master of the beasts. So a lot of AoE slows and control, you see it across all of these heroes. But the heroes he is absolutely best against are ones that want to stand their ground or have issues with an army of summons running at them. Generally a lack of D-push or a way to get on top of the Beastmaster through his summons. So the reason why Beastmaster works the way he does is that his boars and ancient creep that he eventually gets basically represent the hero, where the hero is protecting these creeps with the threat of roar, and the creeps are preventing you from ever going on the real hero. And because you have all these auras and you have the inner beast from your hero, your creeps do way more damage than they would do on any other hero. Also heroes that rely on trees such as Monkey King, because Beastmaster axes cut the trees. I would say Beastmaster's signature spell is probably Roar. He is a summons hero through and through, but what differentiates him from the rest of the summons heroes is that he has a BKB piercing lockdown. This hero, just like any other summons hero, cannot teleport his summons. So that means he doesn't like teleporting and responding to fights. He likes to control areas, make you respond to his tower pressure, and basically kite you back through his boars, because his boars do slow significantly by 40% when they attack you. He has a very strict power spike schedule for the game. The sooner he takes your safe lane tower, he'll usually snowball that into the tier 2 as well as the tier 1 mid. So if those 3 towers are dead, the earlier that happens, the better Beastmaster's chances of winning are. What's important about Beastmaster is that he has hawks to scout you out. He basically has his own wards. So the best way to deal with Beastmaster in these power spikes is by slowing down his laning phase. So picking heroes like Sniper, Troll, PA that can kill the boar, make it hard for the Beastmaster to harass you in lane, and slow down his pressure early. But then, if you want to slow down his pressure later, 1 or 2 smoke ganks to his area to make sure his hawk does not scout you out are absolutely essential. Even though Beastmaster's a stunner, his stun is pretty long range, and his summons are generally his frontliners. So Beastmaster is a backlining, stunning initiator in the form of using his summons as well as axes that buff up the damage of all of his summons as well in order to play fights. So gap closers and bursting of Beastmaster himself are the best ways to deal with the hero. The summons will be a bit underwhelming once you've killed him because they no longer have the buffs from all of his auras. This hero is a menace if he's allowed to snowball the early game towers. So his power spikes that are most notable are Helm of the Dominator in the laning phase and Helm of the Overlord around 15 to 20 minutes. If these timings are delayed by even a few minutes, this hero's success will drastically drop. So the way that this hero predominantly scales is that he makes his entire team do a ton of damage. So it really comes down to how much his team benefits from the attack speed and damage auras that he provides. And then he mainly is a BKB piercing disable and a scout with his hawks. So heroes that can also abuse vision, as well as basically beat him at his own game where they can catch him when they see him is the biggest part of preventing this hero from scaling. Heroes that can go into the fight, like Pangolier, and are unreliable to burst during his roar is definitely the best way to counter how this hero kills you. But the other way is to have heroes like Wyvern, like Undying, like Phoenix, that either make it so it's scary to initiate onto one guy, or you don't want to initiate onto that support. So presenting him with targets he doesn't want to roar, or having a hero like Shadow Demon or Wyvern that will respond immediately to the roar is the ideal way to deal with how this hero kills you. So that's it for today's video. Another 3 counter hero discussions down the drain, and I'll see you guys next week for 3 more.